And there we are. So, hello everyone. This is Eva and Reshma, and we are doing Magnificent Minds today. We're just going to let our thoughts and communication be all about 5D in some way. But we're going to start off, and Meher is going to join us. She's a bit late, but she will pop in here and pick up where we are. And I was thinking, like, hi, Reshma.
Hello. Hi, Eva.
So, if we should start a bit by, just kicking off this live stream with the portal to what do you say?
Two, two, two,
Yeah.
2022.
2022, yes, that's it. The main portal doesn't have
Mhm.
the date set in my mind. But yeah, it was a huge portal.
Yes.
About it.
Well, from what I understand, it was an end of a major cycle from Mother Earth. She's been ending a lot of cycles, or it's one cycle that's just split up with many different aspects,
Yeah.
Like so it was ending her cycle, but we are all a part of her as well as we are independent. We are all ending our own cycle. We're all um, shifting things in our system with the energies coming into Earth. It's affecting everybody in individually their own way. So everyone experienced a shift on that day.
Yeah.
Yes,
Physically and mentally, right?
mentally, yes.
So
And mhm.
how did you experience that shift? Because I guess we have individual ways to have the sense of what was going on. For me, I felt like this calmness. I felt very, very calm and very at peace at heart that day. But otherwise, I couldn't tap into, anything. I was kind of expecting firecrackers. Yeah, we enter this main portal, and I was just like, yeah, chill, everything is cool. So, how did you feel it?
I have to agree with you. Okay, so ever since February started,
Hmm.
I was experiencing so much with my head and my eyes. A little bit of tummy, not too much tummy stuff. Body aches, not too much, but it was headaches and eye migraines, and I was experiencing a lot in February. So I was expecting, like you said, this awesome like display. I thought I was gonna see my dragons and my fairies just like in front of me or something magical.
Yeah.
I thought I thought I was gonna just, have this type of wow. And it was the same for me. It was very calm. I even went out into nature, and you know it was hard to like focus in a way. It was just like, okay, they just want me to just be and receive. So I had to just stop doing and just be.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. And that is an experience too. You have high anticipation of what is going on, and things are just going the opposite way. And yeah, you just have to chill with that. Let's see.
Yeah.
Meher, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Hi,
Oh,
welcome.
Hi, ladies. I was
Hi.
loving what you
hello.
were saying. I was just like listening.
Yeah. Well, how are you?
Good, good. It's so good to see you both.
It's good
Yeah.
to see you.
Very good. It's been a while now, so it's a blessing to have you here. So
Thank
yeah.
you, Evelyn, for making this happen. You're such a mover and shaker. I love it.
Well, we were talking about the portal, Meher, because
Mhm.
as I said, I expected firecrackers, when the day came there, and there was nothing like that. It was very peaceful and very calm and very loving energy. So, yeah, what did you experience? Did anything other than that happen for you, or?
It was a very interesting portal, and you were so right about the peaceful and calm energy. What I experienced on that day was it was very interesting. I was told very, very clearly that on that day, um, only think extremely positive thoughts, because everything you're thinking is manifesting multifold. So there were some things I was specifically instructed in terms of the practical things I was doing. Don't start this today. There were other things which I was like, set the intention today. And it was Venusian energy. So can I tell you a little bit about what was going on
Yeah,
astrologically?
please do. Please
Um,
do.
so the number two is all about harmony, because it's you and someone else, because the two is the number of divine union, and we had so many twos there. And to be specific, it was six twos, and six is also the number of the collective harmony. Like what's happening with us entering the age of Aquarius, like people coming together. So six is the number of joy, because six is the mother with the big belly. So it's like the very mothering, joyful number. And there was six too. So it was all about harmony. And then Venus and Mars, the entire week are making a harmonious aspect. So the divine feminine and the divine masculine are in union, literally, and through that portal. And and usually, I mean, there have been many two portals, right? The 2nd February is when it started, and then it went on until then. And then there was so many powerful alignments that happened. Like 20th, we had the Pluto return in the USA chart, and like things started shifting. So there's a lot going on in the background, in terms of, the power struggles and the systems falling and all of that. But that particular day was that day of bringing the calm to the storm, and it was all about going inward, because we had Venus was in Neptune, which is the planet of divination, in Pisces. So it was all about beauty and art and watery energy and going inward and in your psyche and downloading. So it was like this refresher, in between all of the other craziness, where it was like spirit telling us, yes, the world's going to go through its thing, but this is your moment of solace, when you find yourself and you go within yourself and you find your center and your peace, so that after that you can deal with whatever is coming. So that's how I felt about it. So you're so right about that energy, because portal day is when people say, oh, it's a portal day. A portal doesn't necessarily have to mean upheaval. We're so used to all these portals that are shaking us up these days, but
True,
it's not
true.
Yeah.
just that. It could be a portal that's filling our cup, and that's exactly what it was doing, was filling our cup. Go ahead, Rishma.
No, I'm agreeing with you. This is amazing. Yes.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
it is amazing. And I was thinking about some lyrics I read on the internet. I think it was one of the Archangels group. I read it. It's about Lemuria, how people consciously went from one state of mind into another. They shifted between 3D and 5D in the beginning. And I was having such an aha moment when I heard that, because sometime back when I was growing up, when I wasn't in a harmonic place, I closed my eyes, squeezed, and wanted and wishes myself to be in this happy state of mind and a happy world. And I think a lot of us do that. We are cleansing ourselves when we are feeling down, we are meditating to keep our spirits energy high. And so we are actually using this shift no, not fried, not yet, 3D to 5D. And we are choosing to move between those dimensions in this now. So I think that the portal, so to speak, and everything event that was going on around the portal actually made it easier and brought back a lot of more aha moments and memories for people on how to jump between not necessarily timelines but dimensions. That is my feeling and my aha moment. Can you resonate with that, or do you have another explanation? How do you see it? Are we consciously choosing by moving between dimensions, or how do you see it?
Have to agree with the aha moments because it's very interesting, right? All of us are being triggered where our issues are, and then we're pushed to work on those issues. But what's interesting is, yes, every time we do work on the issue, or every time we go through an experience, we do have that aha moment. So you're right, it is about the aha moment for sure. So I have to agree with that yes, it is about that, and it pushes us towards that, so to speak, and makes us grow in that sense. Gaia is growing, we're growing, and these are growing pains. And but yes, each time it's like, oh, that was so simple. If only I had figured that part out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I am coming back to the information of the DNA. Our DNA being multi-dimensional quantum DNA, God DNA, right? And we are transforming, we are receiving, and we are becoming and having that DNA activated back to its original space. Sorry, I'm receiving so much tingling right now.
Please share it with us.
With this shift, we received like you said, like the experience of Lemuria. And the experience of Lemuria is not really like to be there, to be like on the island or in the water or anything. It's the 100% knowing. In that time, they knew in their DNA spoke to them and gave them the information. Everything is within, right?
Mhm.
Everything we need to know is within. Everything we need to know is without and within, all connected.
True.
And it was like that moment of being at that place where there is nothing to worry, there is nothing to think, there is only to know and be. It's already here. So it was like a taste of that. I feel like what you were explaining. And after thinking about my experience, it was literally like a taste of that, a remembrance of that. That's where we're going. That's where we're going to be. That's what is here and now. And for us to remember and tap into that as it's being reawakened in us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they happen on such an individual plane as well as the collective plane. That we had just a small minute before we went live. We were talking about the heaviness a lot of us felt today, especially today when we were waking up. And as we said, we all know that we are doing a lot of spiritual work when we are asleep, and especially now, I felt like a lot of us has been working really, really hard during the night to holding energies and being there, working both in the Gaia grid and
Mm-hmm.
both in this physical world and in the spiritual world. And then when you wake up and you find yourself that something is occurring in Europe that we haven't been experiencing for a very, very long time,
Right.
it kind of makes me wonder about why are we, and we know it's the shift, but even though it is the shift, we are moving forth in this wonderful energy of, inner growth, peace, and holding the light. And half of the world is collapsing under a kind of a dark and destructive force, because that is, for those who are in the midst of it, it is an incredible destructive energy going on right now. So you kind of wonder, like, where are we in the midst of this? And if we back the tape, we have been talking so for a very, very long time now about holding the light and being there in the midst of the chaos. And even though these things are occurring right now, I still feel a necessity to say, drop into your heart and hold that conscious thought of being in a higher state of mind, higher dimension, because there is that way that we want to move forward to.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of mixed emotions right now.
Yes. And oh gosh.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it is, where we have this 3D life that we were living in. And we are here in this knowing, right? And the new energy on the planet, the density and the dimension has been shifted. And we have to operate in this reality that we have, and we have to experience all these emotions and the fears and the questioning of what is going on in this reality. And we are taught, we are in the knowing that we are the light, and we are what is saving, what is contributing to the love and the change and the shift. It's us, we're in charge of it. And when you see this happening, you do question and you do say, well, what do I do? How can I help? So here's something that I know, that there are people who are supposed to be on the ground doing the work, like physical, working and protesting and, doing those, I, I guess, being in the war, um, and then there are those who are just holding the light and holding the space and holding the love. We have to be there for the collective in that way, um, helping them to understand that this is a time of change, great loss, you know, uh, destruction of what we knew for so long. I mean, centuries, millions of years, we've known this earth to be what it is, growing civilization, industry, and technology, and growing, you know, to become, what was the goal of all these countries? They wanted to just control the person and get us to just be consumers, and we're not that anymore. We're not that. So how are we going to be who we are supposed to be?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we have to go through this muck. We have to see the shadow. We have to accept the shadow. And there was something, I was receiving a lot of messages about love. And I said, what? How can you explain to someone that love is the answer to all things? If I know someone murdered someone, right? I know that they murdered a family member. How can I experience that love is going to heal this problem, this pain, this hurt that I am feeling for a loss of someone, and this murder who I want this murder to experience, you know, the pain, they're bad, they're evil, they should be like in jail, they should be killed, they should be receiving punishment, right? And the answer that I received is the ultimate, what the love of healing that, the love in the form of forgiveness.
Mm. The unconditional love. Yeah.
To really, here I am with the chills again, to really see that person as God, having this experience. That person did something that we don't understand, but it's something that happened, and it's something that was planned. It was something that needed to happen. And we have to forgive. And when we forgive that person completely with all the love in our heart, we're free. We're not with that pain anymore. So that's the love healing. The love is the answer for all things. So that being said, we really have to look at, and honestly, we don't know exactly what's happening in these places. We don't know exactly. We don't know what the real fight is for, like whatever the news tells us, there's something beyond that, right? So we have to come with the love for this situation and forgive. Forgive. People have to learn to forgive all parties being affected. Forgive, as this is something that has to happen.
And that can be probably really difficulty a difficulty
Yes.
task to do because we are emotional beings. And
Yes.
I haven't had this, similar thoughts in a different way, but they were also connected to this unconditional love that you have within you. And if you are there to hold the light, you cannot let your emotions cloud your insight and visions, and because that will put yourself in a judgmental position. And you can feel, you can think, but we don't judge, right? So to be there takes a lot of yourself, and that is actually one of the process of letting go, you know. And we are so many times blindfolded by this letting go that we all always think it has to do with our personal life, relationships, and we need to let everything that has anything to do with material stuff to go. And that could perhaps for someone be very, very true, but I do actually sense that it has another purpose for this meaning, letting go, because that is the old paradigm. Letting go of this old paradigm of judging and try to control other people. That is the old, and that is what's need to be in letting go right now, to in
Yeah.
order to move forward. So yeah, it's so. But I can feel a heaviness when you're talking, because it is affecting us. It is affecting us, actually. But
Yeah.
I have to agree with both you ladies in terms of the agendas of what's happening, right? And the heaviness is inevitable because we're in a time of cleansing. Like Gaia is going through her cleansing and her shifting. So that is was part of it. That was, we were warned that that was going to happen. We're part of it, and it's easier said than done. Like forgiveness is one of the hardest lessons, I feel, like for, especially for light workers, because timeline after timeline we have gone through witch hunts, we've gone through persecution, we've gone through all of this, and it's just like, really, so now you just want me to forgive all those people so that they're going to come and walk over me all over again, but here's the thing to understand is, what I feel is, so whenever I do people's akashic clearings, and since the time Kuan Yin gave me the ability to clear this unjustified karma, they don't allow it for everybody. And when they don't allow it for someone, the only time they don't allow it is when the person has not forgiven. So from that, what I learned is something huge about forgiveness, that as you redeem, you are redeemed.
that's
So
it.
it's like forgiveness is not for someone else, it's for yourself. So and then I always explain this, that yes, they have done that to us, yes, and they're still asking us to forgive, and yes, it is hard, but the whole thing is, if you go back to the core, all of us volunteer souls who come here, if we go back to the core, in we go to the origins, as we say it in the Akash, and is that we came here of our own accord to volunteer, to bring them the message of love and oneness, fully knowing what we're getting into. And then when it actually happened, it was like, oh my God, I didn't know that this is what I was getting into, right? But we came here fully well knowing that we come here to teach them. They are not in that energy, and we are here to bring them that energy. So if we go back to that, then that's the lesson, that you forgive them because they know not what they do. Just like Yeshua said.
Yeah.
It was very literal what he said, It's not just a saying, it was very, very literal. Because the same people who crucified him, and not it's not a religious inference, it's just an example
Yeah.
of how forgiveness works, that the same people that crucified him, when he went up, he took all their souls with them. I was once working on the Akash and of this lady who was one of the Roman soldiers who was part of the crucifixion. She was like, and we saw that, she was taken, lifted up with him, even though she did that. And when I told her that, she's like, I remember this. I have a memory. You're right. And
Yeah.
so what the example he was trying to set was, yes, they will do what they're going to do, especially we'll see it more now. So the heaviness is natural because Gaia is going through her cleanse. And we came here at the time of the cleanse in order to help them walk through the cleanse. So if we take in the heaviness and ingest that and be like, oh my God, what all is happening, instead of being like, yeah, that's going to happen. That's what was going to happen. We knew that. We came here during the shift. And we came here as way showers to show them exactly not to do that, because the prime directive, and this is a very, very important piece of information.
Yeah.
In the Akash of any planet, they say that the prime directive, just like in Star Trek, it's like, you cannot interfere with another planet. The prime directive is, no planet can interfere with another planet's affairs until the planet reaches a point where they self-destruct and there is no hope left. So what does that mean? If Gaia keeps destroying each other, if people of Gaia keep destroying each other, as long as there is hope left of bringing them back and turning them a corner, other species cannot intervene. The moment that hope is not left, then we're fish food. Then everybody else is going to intervene and whatever, take the planet as whatever, safe planet or whatever they want to do with it, or destroy it or whatever. So we are here trying to keep that hope intact, trying to keep that balance intact. So that's what we're here for. So we cannot lose hope.
Yes.
We're here to show them that, hey, an eye for an eye is going to make everybody blind. That's not what we do. When we came from Venus as the 144,000 volunteer souls, we came here to bring that message to them, regardless of what they do to us or regardless of what they do to themselves. We're here to tell them not to do that. And if we kind of get, sucked into that, then we're not passing on that message, and then we're not doing our task. And so, yes, it's sad. Yes, it's hard. But we have to keep our hope intact and bring them that hope and teach them about love and forgiveness, which is one of the hardest things. But that's the message we came here to give, and we cannot let go or give up on that. I hope that made sense.
Wow.
Absolutely. And that was such
Yes.
clarification. I have been hearing those words that you said. They do not know what they are doing, and they have been repetitive for a couple of weeks now in different sentences. So I'm so glad you brought it up, because as you said, it's not a religious thing, it's not bound to any religion, it's a metaphor and an expression for what is actually going on by letting the old paradigm go. And God, I love that. I'm so glad you brought it up. And you said so much good stuff there, so I do not know where to start right now. But yeah, it will come on. What do you say, Reshma?
Well, it's definitely ties in with everything that as we're in us, volunteer souls, all of us who are awakened and know what's going on, we're being in the higher dimensions, and we're seeing the lower dimension and how they are, we have to forgive them, because we're receiving, if we are still operating with those in the lower dimension, those are unawakened soul, they will be providing that negative, that those things that it will trigger us, or we have to really forgive them and see them where they are. They don't know, and we have to keep being who we are. We don't have to, I'm not saying to be like positive or anything, but be who we are in the knowing. We have to keep that, because the minute we allow them to affect us, anything, information, a person, what's happening out there, as soon as we allow it to affect us, that's the old programming that's being affected, because we know, and we can't go there. We can't. And that's so much chills. That's what this portal was for. That's what this whole month, I feel, is for, just to straighten us up. We're here, and let's stay there. We have to focus, because things are happening. Yeah.
And I want to move back to another thing that Meher said about the hope, that we are not able to lose hope, and that is exactly what you are bringing up right now too. Remember why we are here, holding the energies, and keep up the hope. And as she said, I can't say exactly. This is the first time I actually had to take notes. That had never happened before. But I have to write down because there was so much information, so this is fun. But isn't it by holding hope, because we are, like this hopeful people down into the core and soul, so we will never lose faith and hope in somehow or some way. But isn't that like when a lot of people have reached a specific number, a percentage of all the people on earth, if their hope is over that percentage, it's okay for us to move on?
Yes, I feel like there has been those times. So lately, like what I have been seeing, and I believe you may have all experienced this too. And actually, I had even discussed this with Reshma, that I'm seeing like that that with the portals more open, and they had told me in October of 2020 that the portals are now way more open, is that there are like the dark forces. Well, there were days when everybody's going through their, all light workers are down and going through some sort of, in their own way attack. Like I'll see it like even with the few people I work a day, like, they're all going through in their own different ways some kind of thing that pushes the hope to go down, like they'll be drowning. And then there's this one day when everybody like suddenly gets help and they are pushed back up. And I even saw a rainbow that other day when everyone was pushed back. So it's almost like there are days when, with the dark forces are trying to intervene, and then our guides and light forces are like pushing. It's almost like we're in the middle of a war. It's very literal,
Spiritual
and
war. Yeah.
yeah, the spiritual war. And so just knowing that when you are down there, and know that your guides have your back. They just do. Like, I don't know how else to put it. Like, even when you see no light, instead of like worrying, convert your worry into your prayers, and do your prayers and do your rituals and do whatever you call on them. And they are trying, and know that when things are not working, they are trying over time in the background to work that through. And because for us it's so easy, we just like, oh, please help me with this, and they have to figure out how, right? And
Yeah.
move circumstances and like, like go and put things in people's minds and create whatever they're creating. So give them some time to even work on it, because they will have your back. And if not, then it's a lesson. And so it's your lesson. And what are you learning from that lesson? And you had to learn that lesson, because these days the energies are so unforgiving. It's like, if you have a lesson, it's going to play out. That is to make you stronger, so to understand that things will happen, but you have to gather that strength to. So what is hope? Hope is not like, oh, I wasn't helped with it. Hope is like, okay, I learned the lesson that things happen and I got to get stronger. So we have to also generate hope within ourselves, because our guides are listening. They are working overtime. They are doing their best, but there are other forces around. What are you doing to counter the forces? Just praying to your guides, or are you doing your shielding? Like shielding and clearing is like non-negotiable these days, because
No.
every day there is an attack, right? So we're in the middle of a war. You can't be like, oh, I'm going to take a walk in the garden and not put my shield on, right? Because you could be that freak accident where the bullet goes. So if you have your shield on, you're fine. But are you putting that on? Are you doing your bit apart from asking others to help you? So where is the hope? The hope has to come from inside of you. We all have to strengthen. We all have to have our own. And whatever karmic issues you're having, work on them. Work on them yourselves. Get your help. Get your clearings done. That's what we're here to help. And we also have to get our healings and clearings done. And like so many times we get caught up in just working on others and not on ourselves. And that's why keep, like I think Reshma got that message the other day about keeping with the higher octave people. Like the dimensions are so separate now.
Yeah.
And I've seen that too. I had seen the Vesica Pisces split of this was again around that time, October 2020, like where it was like there was an overlap between the third and the fifth dimensions, and then it split, meaning no, we no longer can be in like trying to have those very third dimensional friends and expect that they're not going to drain us down. So Reshma, would you like to talk more about what you got as a download? Because it was your download, so I'd much rather hear.
Gosh, well, I mean, it was just a quick little, message that if you are working and expecting like all of this abundance and, that you're in the light for the light, you have to stay with that company. Like your goal shouldn't be to stay with those who are still, asleep, and because you are there for them, obviously, because they will be needing your light every once in a while, but you can't like expect your things to change as you keeping with that dimension. We are not there anymore, and we chose to be in one dimension, and the other group chose to be in another dimension. So you have to be like aware of who you're keeping company with, because you can easily just go down. You can easily just go down, because that's the goal for that dimension. I don't. It
No,
sounds so mean. As I say it, it
no,
sounds so mean.
it
Like
doesn't sound mean.
I feel bad for saying it.
I actually heard the phrase again. They do not know what they are doing.
Yes, they don't.
So no, oh, this has turned out to tell it like it is. It's so divine. It's so divine. But it is really tell it like it is, because it may sound a bit harsh, but now is really the time to step up and take responsibility for yourself and your own actions if you haven't done it. You can't pass your free will away and depending on that others should take care of you. You need to be there taking care of yourself. Or see, I'm sitting here with my pencil. I'm getting fired up now.
Absolutely. Yes, thank you. No, Reshma, I agree. It's not mean, because it's almost like, again, when you're at war, it's like if you are staying away from the enemy, are you being mean? No, you're being self-sustaining, right? So what I mean by, because they will drain you, the reason they say that is that when you are too much with the third dimensional people who are not awake at all, I mean, it's different if they're trying to be awake and they come to you for help. But even with
Right.
healing, we know that there are people who come to us for a healing and then they're not ready to be healed, and those kind of clients, you will drain you, because they will like suck the energy out of you. And even though you know that what you're saying is exactly what's channeled, they will like lie to themselves and doubt and like cross question you and make you cross question yourself if you're not sure, right? So all those things, so that is the kind of energy, like they will drain you because they don't know what they're doing, they're confused, and blessings to them and love and light to them, but associating with them. It's the same with forgiveness. Like, yes, you forgive people doesn't mean you allow them over for tea, or you like allow to bash you up again. So same thing, like they're asking us to forgive, meaning to let go of what happened, doesn't mean that you allow those people in your life again, because then they will do the same thing. Then that becomes like your life lesson to avoid that, right? So there is that border, that very thin border, which is a tricky one to navigate, but very important to navigate at this time, because the more we associate with those people, the more our energy gets drained. And we cannot have our energy drains, because we need our full energy to support the ones who are willing and coming to you for help. If our energy drains, then so we cannot help the 10 other people who are willing. So that's the important piece here, that if you want to be able to do your task, it's like I'm going to just paint the picture of a war zone. It's a war zone, and say you're at the hospital and you're a nurse, and there are all these wounded coming in, right? And these wounded are coming in, and there are not enough beds, and you have to try and work on them as soon as possible so that the next person can come. Now, if you focus too much on one person who's just like throwing tantrums for no reason, and yes, you want to help them, they're wounded, and you know, like your heart goes out to them. But if they're not willing to like heal, and all those other people are lining up, and if you don't attend to them, they're gonna die, which one do you pick? Right? So it's like
Right.
that. It sounds mean to tell this person, okay, go while you can barely walk, but you can at least walk, that other person's about to die, you know, and they want
Right.
my help and they're willing to get my help. So that's where we're at. It's you know, it's like, it's about the resources being limited and where they're being put to use, and your time and your energy is a resource. You only have so much of it, and you try to, and then we all come with our fears, because all of us have these wounds of persecution. We all have like these impression conscious things where we're like, how are they viewing us? We, most of us light workers, whenever I go into the light worker akash, it's like so common, how are they viewing me? Very few actually don't give a shit about how others view them. And then if when they view you as what you're not, that drains your energy. So when you're, every time you're affiliating with them, you know, it's like, oh my god, you know, maybe I'm not who I am, they don't think I'm like that, they think I'm being, you know, not good at it. Who has the time to go into that? There are all
Right.
these people waiting in line coming to you for healings. Like
Yeah.
if you lose your thing, that's like, when we go down in energy, then connecting with spirit is hard, right? And then with all the portals open, that's when you become that easy fish food for the entities that are trying to attack. And we don't even want to go there. We want to stay up here where our guides can reach us and they're
Yeah.
actively working with us. So when we're in this company, this sisterhood, this type of, then thank you, Evelyn, for creating this, because we all need it. God knows we all need it. Like we
We do.
thrive and activate each other and thrive with each other, and as we support the others, we need our own support system, and that feeds us and elevates us, and then all our guides can come together. And this is beyond like, this is beyond like three of us meeting. This is all our guides kind of celebrating together, right? We give them an opportunity to connect, and then the important facts of what's going on come through, and
Mhm.
and then other sisters are listening to it. So this is essential in whatever way, whoever is listening, wherever you are, keep
Mhm.
your support system with the high vibrational people, even if it's just one person on the phone or on the internet and far away.
Yeah.
We're all so far away, but this is what feeds us more than anything else that happens in our local day.
Totally. And
Yeah.
that brings me back now because once again you clarified something that you were talking about earlier, and that was the cleansing of Akashi records. That actually I've been wondering about that question because I have heard people saying that they have done Akashi clearing, and like a couple of months after, they are still doing the Akashi clearing for the same thing. And you mentioned that earlier that you need to forgive and let go, otherwise the Akashic is still there. And that is what you are actually saying right now, in other words. So that kind of connects the dots to that question.
Mhm. So here's the thing, right? Whenever I'm doing clearing someone's akash, and the clearing of the akash is very different from other types of clearings, because it's not something that needs to be done again and again unless you reinculcate those karmas. And so over the years, I've just developed a protocol where I go piece by piece and cover all those things, and then of course whatever comes up for that specific person. um, but when I'm clearing the Akash, I'm not always given permission to clear the karma, because that is one of the pieces of it. So when they say that they are clearing it over time, what they're really saying is I'm clearing certain parts of it, and then other parts are left. And then once they're cleared, then they pretty much are. I mean, of course, if you make new vows or new contracts in this timeline, then you may have to come back and clear those, and that's your choice. But for the most part, at least we're kind of clearing the past, and But there is also this piece to it. Now, clearing of the Akash is an energetic clearing. Once the energy is clear, we have put it in motion. So we have put our request out to the guides to help this person clear this, this, and this. That starts a motion. That starts a sequence of events. And then as the sequence of events happens, that's through their karma, the person is clearing it. So for instance, I may have cleared, I mean, when I say I, the guides may have cleared for somebody a certain piece. But now they have to understand in their practical experience that this has been clear. So the experience will come to them. And this time they just act differently because they can, right? And the experience will come to them just to show them that, see, this trigger does not always mean this result. This time you can do it differently. But it's their choice whether they choose to do it differently or not, or they choose to go back to their old consciousness. And that's when the subconscious work comes into play. Energetically, we've cleared that imprint. But if their unconscious thinks that, no, I cannot do this, then they need more unconscious work, meaning inner child work, or, the kind of work that Reshma does, they need that work because it's like they still think that I can't do this. Like, even though, so it's like whenever they see this bridge, they see this big gap. It's like, this is not possible for me to jump. I won't reach the other side. Now the gap is reduced and they can jump, but in their mind, they're just like, I cannot jump to the other side. So now that needs to be shifted with, just their own, either their conscious experience, or go into the unconscious and shift that old story that's not doable, because it is now, but you still have that old story. So there are many layers to that work. Once the work starts, then it just triggers a series of events, and then the series of events have to unfold, and their belief system has to accept, and that's when the real shift happens.
So when you have learned the lessons, you are actually moving into another experience of the same lesson, but you evolving with the lesson, so to speak. Because I can find myself placed in the same situation, and like when I think that I got the message and I do know how to handle it, and I choose to handle it different, I will be in a near future exposed to a similar event, but with another understanding, or how I should say it. So yeah, thanks for clearing that. Yeah.
I agree with that, but it's slightly different. So when you're experiencing a lesson, when you learn the lesson just through the lesson consciously, then the lesson will repeat itself. Generally, when we clear things from the Akash, the lesson kind of shifts. And it's one more event that will show you the lesson has shifted. Now, the time it can lengthen, and that's the whole idea, to remove people from going round and round those lesson cycles in the Akash, right? So that gives them a bit of a easy way out. I don't like using the word shortcut or easy way out, but it literally is like, we don't have time for all that. Just come back to your source, because you and your strength, because we're cutting out the lessons. But despite that, if a person chooses the old story and refuses to realize that the new story has been put in effect, then yes, they will keep playing out the old lesson until they choose to realize that there is no lesson. The gap is not there anymore. So you don't have to fear crossing it, so there is that part to it also. And yes, usually lessons play out over and over until we learn them. And there are multiple layers of learning them. So I completely agree with you on that. Like I was like, I thought I just learned that. Why is this happening again? Well, this is the next layer. Now you're getting bolder, right? And in the Akashic experience, you're clearing that, but then if the person still thinks they're there because of their conditioning, I mean, it's very hard. If all your life you have thought that that's how it works, then all of a sudden, how do you think that doesn't work? So you're going to still think, and then when you experience it differently, either you will have that ding ding, oh, this was a different experience, or you will just kind of fall back into the old timeline, and that's where somewhere down the unconscious This is why I feel like Krishna's work is so amazing, because she goes into the unconscious and she does that for like children. And like who, like you cannot really take children on a hypnosis journey, right? Like they're not going to understand it. And people who are like who are, you know, in that state, and she'll just go and switch that up in their unconscious, so they automatically don't think that way, you know. So a lot of times
Wow.
she'll send someone to clear their akash with me, and then continue the work, and you know, but it's just, so I think it's a combination of clearing it energetically, clearing from the unconscious, and clearing it in every way possible, and then finally the person believing that yes, it has been cleared, and yes, it can work differently. And that kind of reduces that loop, or the number of times they have to experience that lesson. And other than that, yes, lessons do happen in layers. I agree.
So it's still about making choices and to move on, right? We come down to that once again. You
Yeah.
have to step up, take responsibility for your own actions, and you know, choose the way you want to experience the lessons that you are learning, and set boundaries for not being dragged down into others' lower
Yeah.
energy.
And that, as she was speaking, I was like, well, that's what's happening to all of our Akash with the 3D reality that's, you know, leaving. That is leaving our Akash. So we're all experiencing different layers of the change, you know, like, so we really have to be understanding with, you know, ourselves, and understanding that not everybody's on the same level, and understanding it's happening in layers. It's happening in layers. A lot is happening in layers. And what the soul is in alignment with at that time, that is what is allowed to release and clear and stuff like that. There was something else while we were talking. I heard the message to call on the angels of war together to help assist what is happening in that area. What is it, Russia, Ukraine?
Ukraine, Russia, yeah.
Yeah, to assist in just ending it.
So you want to
Yes.
go through it right now, or
If you guys feel,
definitely, because I actually heard that we should round up, and I was going to ask if someone of you wanted to close it with something. So there you are presenting this opportunity. So definitely.
Perfect. I'd love that. Yeah, let's do it.
okay. Did you want to do it in a certain way, Mahir, or does anybody have an inkling? I just was gonna do
Okay,
like
I can start opening the circle and doing the
Okay.
protection and shielding, and then when the energy start coming, Reshma, go for it, because you know they've given you this, so I'm sure they'll work with you. Okay. I call in the golden and silver angelic light to shield our energy fields and our homes, and we call in Archangel Michael to please shield our spaces, and that those spaces of those listening to this broadcast. And we ask that the energies of this broadcast go to whoever is listening whenever they're listening to it in real time. We ask Lord Hashtar to please hold space so that there is no galactic interference. We call on all our guardian angels. We call in the light of the divine masculine and the divine feminine. We call in the light of the Christ consciousness and the violet flame of transmutation to be present with us here and now. And we call in all of our master guides and angels, and any guides that work in the light that are willing to come and assist us through this channeling. The circle is now open.
Thank you. As we come today, we gather, we ask, and we request all angels who assist in the war, all angels who assist in the guidance of Ukraine and Russia, all angels who are unemployed, who are willing and able, who are looking for a call. We're calling you. Sorry, we're calling you. We're calling you. We're calling you. We're requesting now to assist in what is happening. We are requesting this to be done now. Requesting help in Russia and Ukraine. We are requesting this. We are calling you, the unemployed, the angels of war, all who are available and all who are working in those areas of Russia and Ukraine. We are requesting this to end fast, to bring more love and light into the hearts of all involved, to help provide the forgiveness, to help provide the understanding, open the hearts and minds of all involved, open the hearts and minds of all watching, open the hearts and minds of all who are needed to have this awakening right now. We thank you. We call also on Metatron to provide your protection and reducing fear in all involved, all who are listening, all who are watching. Thank you. Thank you.
We ask for the violet flame of transmutation to transmute all energy of violence and all energy of pain. We ask Archangel Michael to please give strength to the ones that are suffering. And we ask Archangel Raphael to provide healing to the ones that need healing. And we ask that all of this that we ask happen in accordance to divine will, in accordance to whatever is good for all species on earth and beyond. And only without any harm done into any of our energy bodies. And we ask that love and light be sent to those that are in need all over the world at this point. We ask for all of the guides of light to strengthen and give strength to all those that are losing hope. And if they're on the brink, bring them back to the light. Give them the assistance that they need to come back to the light. For we need as many as possible in the army of light right now. And we ask that may the army of light win. And please guide us to assist whoever comes our way, and guide them to come to us when they need that assistance. Thank you.
Yeah, and blessings goes out to everyone who is affected physically and emotional by this event taking place in Europe right now. And we are holding our heart space open, and we are holding a circle of light for those in need of healing and assistance. And as the beautiful ladies here have said, the angels are working with us, the violet flame are working with us, and the whole event is being watched over, and we are holding our hearts and your hearts in the light for protection and well-being and prosperity for everyone in the outcome in the end. Bless you.
And we send gratitude to all of the guides who work so hard to help us every time we call them. We send them so much love and gratitude. We thank you for your assistance, for your partnership in this process, for everything you do for us, to forgive all of our flaws, and every time you lift us up when we're down. And we thank you. We send you so much gratitude for all you do. We have no idea how you do it, but we are in gratitude.
Absolutely. Thank you. So,
as we sit here, I see and I send platinum ray over the area and all the unicorns. I am seeing the unicorns And the dragons, elementals, thank you. Thank you for showing me and assisting me. Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you for providing help towards that area. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Meher. Thank you, Eva.
Thank you, Rashmi.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Reshma. It's been such a blessing and a wonderful time during this heavy time too, but it's been a blessing, true blessing to have you here today, and just been able to holding the energies, holding the space, and I feel like there has been a lot of activations taking place in this now when you ladies have been spoken your truth. So gratitude and thank you to both of you.
Gratitude to you as well. I would just like to say, as we thank all the guides that came through, we now release all of the elementals into their stations, and may our protector guides stay with us, and we close this circle and thank them for their assistance. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And for everyone who has been listening to us, please, this is a live stream and is also going to stay up on the internet here. So please listen through and watch it all over again because there's tons of information and activations in here. So bless your hearts until
Thank you.
next time.
Bless you.
Mm.
Thank you.
Bye bye.